Welcome back to 21st Century Dating Decoded, the official Speed Mingle podcast. I'm your host, Don, and I'm thrilled you could join us for another episode dedicated to navigating the complexities of modern romance. Every week, we dive deep into the trends, challenges, and triumphs that define dating in the 21st century. Whether you're swiping, mingling, or navigating a long-term commitment, we're here to decode it all. Today, we're tackling a topic that's been making headlines and hitting closer to home for many of our listeners: the impact of economic pressure on contemporary relationships. We're calling it the Inflationship, economic pressure as an influence on contemporary relationships. The cost of living, student debt, and uncertain job markets aren't just background noise. They're fundamentally reshaping how we date, commit, and manage our shared lives. We'll be exploring questions like, how does financial stress manifest in dating dynamics? Are couples delaying major milestones like marriage or having children due to inflation? What are the best strategies for couples to communicate openly about money? We've brought in an expert for this discussion, renowned financial relationship coach, Person. You can find more information about Person's work on their website, File. So buckle up, grab your coffee, and let's decode the Inflationship. This is an episode you won't want to miss. If you like what you hear, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave us a review. And for exclusive behind-the-scenes content, and to RSVP for our next in-person Speed Mingle event, check out the links in the show notes. As the year 2025 concludes, the prevailing climate of persistently elevated living costs has exerted an influence beyond the tightening of household budgets, fundamentally reshaping the dynamics of modern romance and courtship. The significant financial strain, typically associated with mortgage costs, escalating grocery expenses, and spiking energy prices, has permeated the most personal aspects of life, giving rise to a novel socio-economic phenomenon, the inflationship. This shift constitutes more than a mere adjustment in discretionary spending. It represents a profound reevaluation of the role of fiscal matters in emotional commitment. The new pragmatism, from exclusive dining to frugal recreation. The era characterized by expensive, traditional courtship, involving lavish dinners, premium theater seating, and spontaneous weekend excursions, is receding. In its stead, a distinctly more pragmatic and fiscally conscious approach to dating has become established. Across all demographic cohorts, from Gen Z entering the dating pool to older millennials seeking enduring partnerships, couples are gravitating toward low-cost engagements. This strategic recalibration prioritizes shared experiences that maximize time together while minimizing financial outlay. Coffee meetings have supplanted dinner reservations. Extended park walks and hiking activities now represent the norm over ticketed cultural events, and utilizing free museum days or library access provides cultural enrichment without the prohibitive cost. This is not solely an inclination toward simplicity. It is a meticulously calculated strategy for financial resilience. The emphasis has decisively shifted from the monetary value spent on an activity to the intrinsic, emotional substance of the interpersonal connection. This austerity, born of necessity, compels couples to forge bonds on a deeper, more authentic level, driven by the imperative to safeguard dwindling savings and discretionary income. The integrity of the relationship is now assessed less by extravagant demonstrations and more by shared fiscal responsibility and resourceful financial management. The expediting of commitment, the emergence of move-in-flation. Perhaps the most significant and structurally impactful change within this contemporary economic environment is the accelerated adoption of cohabitation, a pattern analysts have termed move-in-flation. Couples are now choosing to reside together at a pace considerably faster than traditional societal benchmarks, which typically reserved cohabitation for a pre-engagement phase. The impetus for this early consolidation is explicitly less about achieving a romantic milestone and substantially more focused on securing immediate, critical fiscal relief. The mathematical benefit is irrefutable. Dividing a rapidly inflating rental payment, sharing utility expenditures, and reducing overall household overhead provides a direct and immediate improvement to the financial stability of both individuals. While this maneuver effectively mitigates immediate cash flow challenges and establishes a necessary buffer against inflationary pressures, it introduces complex and frequently challenging considerations regarding the emotional and relational maturity of partnerships founded primarily on financial expediency rather than emotional readiness. Analysts caution that while the joint lease agreement may be executed, the emotional infrastructure requisite for long-term cohabitation may be perilously underdeveloped, thereby imposing undue strain upon the relationship. The constraint on singles, anxiety and economic incentives. For single individuals navigating this landscape, the inflationship era generates a unique and intense array of anxieties. The financial burden intensifies substantially as high living costs converge with individual expenses. As significant expenditures, such as holiday spending, travel, or even essential self-care, become imminent, the pressure to secure a committed partner has become more pronounced and transactional. In this hypervigilant economic climate, a committed partnership offers a distinct and potent competitive advantage, specifically, the capacity to have recurring financial obligations. Consequently, the inherently romantic pursuit of a soulmate has become inextricably linked with the pragmatic search for a co-tenant. This underlying economic incentive, subtly, yet powerfully, obscures the distinction between genuine romantic aspiration and the pursuit of essential economic stability, thereby complicating the motivations underpinning dating and commitment. Sustained viability beyond divided expenses. The inflationship serves as a stark and sobering illustration of the pervasive and deep-reaching extent to which macroeconomic forces influence our most personal and intimate lives. As romantic relationships develop rapidly under considerable financial duress, experts and relationship therapists universally caution that the long-term viability and resilience of these partnerships depend upon far more than merely the ability to share expenses. Financial transparency and open, candid discourse concerning all aspects of personal and shared finances are no longer merely advisable, they are unequivocally mandatory. In a relationship partially forged by economic necessity, this level of explicit financial planning constitutes the sole reliable means of ensuring that a shared residence forms a true foundation for an enduring, resilient partnership, rather than serving as merely a temporary, tactical refuge from economic pressures. Welcome to the conclusion of this week's podcast. I'm Person, and we've dedicated this entire episode to dissecting and understanding the inflationship, a timely, fascinating, and increasingly central dynamic where surging economic pressures are fundamentally reshaping the landscape of contemporary relationships and dating. We began our deep dive by precisely defining the inflationship. It is far more than simply dating during high costs of living. Instead, we've positioned it as a profound, central influence on everything from initial dating behaviors and first date choices to the speed of reaching major relationship milestones, and ultimately, on the very definition of long-term compatibility. The data and anecdotal evidence we've gathered reveal surprising and compelling shifts in modern romance. We noted a clear pivot. The traditional, expensive dinner and a movie dates that were once the default are rapidly being replaced by budget-friendly, more creative alternatives. Yet, here is the key takeaway. Despite these necessary cutbacks, the core, deep-seated desire for meaningful, authentic, and quality human connections remains as strong as ever. The pursuit of a partner hasn't diminished. The approach to finding one has simply become more pragmatic and resourceful. The critical shift, financial candor over costly cover-ups, perhaps the most critical shift we've identified in the era of the inflationship, is the renewed and urgent focus on financial transparency and shared goals. The old, unwritten rule of avoiding serious money talk until well after the third, fourth, or even fifth date is swiftly fading into obsolescence. Today, successful couples are engaging in candid, detailed conversations about their debt, their saving strategies, their income stability, and their future financial planning much earlier in the relationship. This forced, practical honesty, while certainly born out of economic challenge and necessity, is creating a powerful and enduring result. This early and open dialogue ultimately fosters a stronger, more resilient foundation for a partnership, built on shared reality rather than romantic but unsustainable fantasy. In summary of Inflationship Insights, decoding the new norms. The shift to budget-conscious connection, the inflationship era has triggered a marked transition in dating habits, moving away from high-cost consumption toward shared, low-to-no-cost experiences like home cooking, free local events, or museum nights. This shift demonstrates that genuine connection is ultimately defined by quality time and shared experience rather than expenditure. In fact, resourcefulness has become the new romantic currency. To navigate this, daters are encouraged to replace costly dinners with fun, shared effort activities, such as picnics or hikes, to demonstrate creativity rather than relying on their wallets. The rise of financial transparency. As relationships progress, financial transparency has become a standard requirement, characterized by earlier and more detailed discussions regarding debt, income, credit scores, and savings goals. Financial compatibility is now viewed as a core pillar of relationship success, ranking nearly as high as emotional and physical attraction. However, this need not feel like an interrogation regarding bank balances. Instead, the recommended approach is to focus the conversation on financial values, money philosophies, and long-term goals to ensure alignment without creating awkwardness. Redefining living arrangements. Economic pressure has led to an increased and often hastened interest in cohabitation, alongside a conscious decision to delay traditional, high-cost milestones, like elaborate weddings and home ownership. While pooling resources into a couple's economy is an effective survival strategy, it requires meticulous planning to prevent future resentment. Consequently, couples are advised to have open discussions during the early stages of serious commitment regarding comfort levels, specific expectations for shared living expenses, and realistic cohabitation timelines. Mental health as a relationship priority. Finally, the heightened economic stress caused by inflation and uncertainty necessitates a stronger foundation of emotional support within the partnership. Because financial stress is a top relationship killer, partners must function as each other's chief emotional and mental health support system against external pressures. To achieve this, couples must prioritize genuine active listening and open, non-judgmental communication to validate each other's anxieties and support one another's well-being. In conclusion, resilience is the new romance. Ultimately, the inflationship is proving to be a true and profound test of partnership. It acts as an economic crucible that highlights precisely which couples have the capacity to pivot, communicate effectively under pressure, and function genuinely as a cohesive, high-performing team. While baseline economic stability is, of course, important, our research clearly indicates that resilience, adaptability, and stellar communication are proving to be the real, non-negotiable markers of long-term compatibility in the 21st century. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the inflationship. Whether you're meticulously cutting coupons for date night or having those difficult, necessary conversations before co-signing a lease, please remember this. Navigating economic shifts together, openly and honestly, can be the ultimate, most powerful relationship builder you will ever encounter. And don't forget, the best way to practice this new financial candor is in a low-pressure, high-fun environment. Be sure to RSVP immediately for our next live Speed Mingle event taking place in December. You can find a full list of events at thespeedmingle.com/events. That's all for this week on 21st Century Dating Decoded. Until next time, I'm Don, encouraging all of you to keep decoding those relationships and building resilient, honest partnerships.